Up next on Inspiring Beauty and Believers.
And thank God for my mother and your mother and your mother and your mother. Thank God for our mothers who were there to do the best that they could to teach us how to be a gentleman, how to teach a woman, how to run a house. You know, you need to be able to learn how to cook clean. You don't need to be dependent on a woman. You know, I'm gonna teach you everything that I can, but there's some stuff that's just innately man that no matter how hard a woman tries, she just can't give you. She can only give you what she has. Right?
He's done miracles on me. Back again, he's done. Back again, he's done miracles. Back again, he's done miracles on me.
Welcome back to Inspiring Beauty and Believers. I am Song, and we are on our series for the love of men. Welcome back, King, Courtney, Doc, Marcus, and Shannon. Never had to before.
I never paid attention to the Courtney and Shannon in the group. I like that we're bringing masculinity to these softer names. You know what I'm saying? Let these niggas know. What's up, Billy? That's it. Don't like this picture. Listen, no real muscles under here. My name is Courtney Quick Drama Brawl Pow.
That's why Shannon's shirt looks tight. So the pink.
No, it's tight since I ain't doing one done tighter than that. This is all I can get in without restricting. Otherwise, it's painful.
Today we are talking about the importance of fatherhood and toxic masculinity. First question, do you believe the role of a father is essential in the upbringing of a child? First of all, how many of you grew up with a father?
Define father.
How many of you grew up with your biological father?
Oh no, that's a hard one.
Father.
I had a father in the house for part of it. No.
Father figure.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of those.
Uncles.
Uncles,
None
granddaddy.
in the house.
In the house?
In the house.
All right, so do you believe the role of a father is essential in the upbringing of a child?
I think it's probably one of the biggest detriments that we've had in our culture and our households. But it starts so far back that it's probably one of the most crucial things that we get to implement. I'm truly proud of the men that I've grown up with in our generation. I see them taking on the role of father and taking it seriously. But I also believe that's because they did not have it and decided to fill that role and take that spot. So that's
I can definitely say that because of the father figures, I just know that some of my best qualities, even though my grandfather would cuss me out, stuff like that. But one of the good things that was about him that I honestly learned as a man was consistency. No matter what you could do in life, the best thing you can do is be consistent in your children's life. Because there's so many things that go on and things of that nature. Like, I'll just give you examples, man. I remember one time, I was getting into some trouble. He was going to court dates and stuff like that. And he tried to come with his state uniform on. It didn't work. But the thing is that I started realizing that if it's that, if it was shiny running out of gas, if there's any point that I came short in life, or I had something, he had sound advice, but he was always there. You know what I'm saying? Present. But whenever, there's nothing like having somebody that you can touch at any point in your life. When those things are going on, that it's kind of, you know what I'm saying, you're going through life as a man, as a young man trying to figure out life. There's nothing like having an actual man showing you, like, time's going to be hard, but I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep paying these bills. I'm going to keep being here for my wife. I'm going to keep, taking you to your games and showing up and graduations and all that. So everything in my life, he's always been there. Even to the point when I started having children and he was able to travel and stuff, he was always there. And that's one of the things that I really can say, that even though I never had my father, that example of him actually has me consistent with my children.
Sorry. What question again? Did the role of father essential in Absolutely. I think one of the most overlooked aspects of a father's life in a child is the ability to bless your child. Like the blessing has always been handed down from the father. Abraham blessed his children. Isaac blessed his children. Jacob blessed all the kids that hadn't slept with his wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, but biblically, the blessing is transferred from father to child. And so I think that is something that is undervalued and overlooked in our society. You know what I'm saying? I am doing everything that I can to, the Bible says a good man inherits for his children's children. I'm not just looking to have a good life for myself. I'm looking to prepare a financial life for my grandchildren. And that when my time comes, I get to lay hands on my sons, bless them, and give them their inheritance of what I've built. And even all of that inheritance isn't theirs because a significant portion of what I'm trying to build is for their children, and they'll be able to do the same, and so on and so forth. So I think the aspect of being able to bless your son, to speak over. There's something about a man calling the man out of a boy. You know what I'm saying? Like calling him into manhood. And thank God for my mother and your mother and your mother and your mother. Thank God for our mothers who were there to do the best that they could to teach us how to be a gentleman, how to teach a woman, how to run a house. You need to be able to learn how to cook clean. You don't need to be dependent on a woman. I'm gonna teach you everything that I can, but there's some stuff that's just innately man that no matter how hard a woman tries, she just can't give you. She can only give you what she has, right? And so, and to be honest, man, thank God for our uncles and thank God for the fathers in the neighborhood who decide to take you fishing with their sons and stuff like that. But I think something about it, your father. I would dare to venture, I have no proof of this, but I would dare to venture to say that there is some type of DNA or frequency or something that bonds or ignites when your father speaks something correct over you. Again, no science behind it. It's just my theory, but I would bet to say that, no matter how much somebody else can inspire you, there's something about when your father calls you into manhood, when your father knights your shoulders, when your father tells you, this is your time. I'm here for you. Go, stretch, expand your territory. Don't be afraid. Yeah, it's different when your daddy tells you don't be afraid versus somebody else telling you don't be afraid. You trust your daddy in a way that you grew up on. You trust the father in a way that you just, in some aspects, probably more than you would trust yourself, because your assumption is that they have experience in your unknown, and they're asking you to do something out of your unknown. And so you only have their word to go on. You know what I'm saying? So can that manifest itself in like leaders that come into your life? Absolutely. Thank God for them. But again, I think there's an aspect of it from a father to son that is lost when we don't have it in the house. And you may spend a great deal of your adulthood trying to find whatever that aspect is. And so I will say, as a result, I take my relationship with my boy very seriously. My presence, very seriously. My consistency, very seriously. My ability to lay hands on them, my ability to speak to them, my ability to example for them, very seriously. It's something that I would never, God forbid, if me and my wife got on the worst of ends of a relationship, whatever, I do Kanye. Oh, y'all moving to Calabasas? I'm buying a house across the street. Me and them, that's impossible. I'm never walking away from that. You know what I'm saying? So, long-winded, what you feel?
Yeah. Definitely. It's like, the true essence of bloodline. Because there's like a disconnect. That's what they like to say. Even though I reverted and changed it around and been a good father of my children, there's still a disconnect where, as of recently, my son was like, he wanted to be my father. So now I'm trying to reconnect with the family to get it because he wants to know his lineage, where I come from, what's going on. I see my father, but I know my granddaddy, but that's through his mother's side, and then through his father's side. So, yeah, it's definitely, there's something different about getting that straight from your father. You're not calling my dad. There's still that missing piece. There's substance. So,
I can absolutely say I wasn't one of those individuals that I grew up where there were like men all over the place. Like primarily in my household, it was my mother, aunts, grandparents. Grandfather was there, but he was basically at the house or working. Those were his two things that he was mainly doing. So it wasn't an aspect of having another real role model until I got like in my teen years to actually see, doing the things. that even I do now. But now I'm in an aspect of like when I'm in my teenage years, I'm looking at it and saying, okay, these are my friends, these are their parents, and just kind of watching and seeing how certain people act and how certain people don't act, and responses to certain things and lack of response to certain other things. And then there was, one man who stepped up. And it's not even that he stepped up, just he took care of his kids a certain way. And if you were in the vicinity, you were his child. Yeah. So it was, hey, what's going on with you? How's your day going? How's everything going with you? How your grades? How's this and third? How's your family? Blah, blah, blah. I heard about something stupid that you did. Let me talk to you real quick. Like those types of things. Like that, finally that person around 16, 17 coming out and being like, hey, let's have a conversation or whatever, which is something that I always carry into some of the reasons why I do some of this stuff with my son. My experience with actually really watching men be men was when I got back to the Marine Corps. That's really when it was. It was, I'm responsible for all of this. This is all of you individual people are under my charge, but I'm also responsible for everything that you're responsible for, everything that we may get or may have to get back. It has to go back and it has to come and it has to go back in a certain quality of standard. So the point is, I'm responsible for it. That means that I need to make sure that I'm accountable for everything, that I'm accountable for you, everything you have, everything that I have. And it ended up being a thing where it was like, okay, my mother obviously did everything that she could to go ahead and give me what she could give me. But there were certain things that I got from that I couldn't have gotten from my mother. You know, as much as I love my mother, love her bottom of my heart. There's certain things that I got from being around certain men that I was in the Marine Corps that literally were being father figures without maybe even knowing they were being father figures. You know, but these individuals were maybe 35, 40, some of them maybe a little bit older, some of them like 25, whatever, because you age very quickly in infantry. But like just the example that they were setting for everyone going forward in all areas of life and all that stuff, just those were the things that I picked up on, and those were the things that I went and I try still to this point, my son's only 19, but still try to this point to like give into my son. And I've tried to raise my son, you know, the things that let him know I'm always there, like consistency, like you just said, the thing coming from growing up without a father. There's no way I would have my son grow up without me, regardless of the situation. Living in Avondale, ex moved to the east side, house is gone and moved to the east side. Like this, it just is what it is. You know, like those are the things, certain things had to happen because there was no way that I was going to go ahead and be like, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and just let you go do your thing. And your mom over there, fine, you're over there too, whatever. Like that was one of the main crux of the conversation that we had is dealt with when we got our divorce. Like everything else is everything. But Jay is with me. It is what it is. Like, he needs his father. I got no problem with you taking him, like weekends, coming over, whenever you want to see him, you can see him, doesn't matter. But living, like raising through school, all the different things that he's going to go through, getting raised up, all those things, literally he's doing that too. You know, and she knew what the seriousness of it was. She never had a problem with it. And I think that something that both of y'all were saying, this is not totally from personal experience, it's the whole thing. Some of this from personal experience, but the majority of this is from watching other people. There is something so significant that happens when a father is in the story along with the mother. If they're together, fantastic. But even if they are not, the actual father being in the story. Because you can see when you're sitting there and I have enough female friends where I've seen them raising their sons up along the way. Father really nowhere in the picture. Them having these instances of having like real struggles and real troubles at certain points in time when the son is trying to exert himself over life, trying to figure out his way. And it's like, is he bogarting me? Like, is he just like, he maybe disrespecting me? Like, whatever, whatnot. He's trying to figure himself out. And he doesn't have a man to be an example, to show him you're trying to figure yourself out. You need to relax a little bit. This is the direction you need to go, and this is how you need to handle this. But because they don't have that, it's whatever it ends up being. Maybe she can speak that into him. Maybe she can't. But a man there that he can see as an example, that he can trust, that he can see as reality is, you're a woman, you look totally different, your energy is different, your enzymes are different, your genetics are different, chromosomes are different, all that stuff is different, and they can tell that. As soon as they sit there and they go to a man, sit there and look at a man, that they can see that dude is just like me. I can sit there and see that we mentally are almost on the same kind of frequency as it deals with a lot of stuff. He says something I can more readily receive, that I need to relax, calm down a little bit. Maybe I need to go this direction rather than going that direction. Maybe he's walking in emotion more than he should be. Maybe he's walking in emotion more than he should be, when he should be walking in a little bit more reason and logic. And it's that thing that having that man there, his father there, provides. Other men coming into your life can definitely help you with that. Definitely help. But there's nothing like having your actual father in your life. That person that carries the same genetic code as you. Person that literally, where you came from, right there. Not, this is a direction I could go, because that person looks like they got, some things that are like me. This person is me. So I can literally go along with
identity.
That. Exactly.
What you're talking about. And I think that's a very big thing. Like for me growing up, again, my skin looked like this, but my mom looked like you. Somewhere between y'all. You're right about here. Right around this paralyzed genre. I would have been way more comfortable in my skin, in my neighborhood, in my family, at my school, if I had someone to identify. It's okay for me to be this light, because my daddy is light. Instead of I'm the only one in my everywhere you look, I'm the sore thumb. I'm the one with the bandage on while the rest of the hand is in the fist. Like I think that would have made a tremendous difference in me being much more accepting of myself as a young man, even as a little boy, instead of looking for acceptance for so long. And I think a lot of boys who grew up without dads find themselves looking for acceptance, so they're willing to do. That's why it's so easy to fall into a game. You just looking for somebody to be like, yo, you belong. Yeah. And it's okay for you to be you. And so you're like, well, it's okay for me to be me, but I want to be like, yo. Yeah. When sometimes that quirky kid, that kid who just marches to the beat of his own drum, it's just because he's cool with being him. And it's because his daddy is like, boy, okay, what they doing? You know what I'm saying? We come home around here, we do work around here, whatever the case may be. So, excuse me, I think identity makes up a large piece of that. And I want to say something controversial on Marcus. Not that he wouldn't say it, but I think he's very Marcus-esque in saying what I'm about to say. The only people who think their fathers being in their life aren't important are bitter people. And mostly bitter women. Next question. Did I do okay?
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Like pull up next step.
You didn't even go all the way down.
No. I'm not
Let it go. Sorry.
You shot it and turned around.
So I was going to add a caveat to what Shannon said, and also what you said about the importance of identity. And like, even if you don't have your father in your life as a boy, it's essential. And one of the reasons why, like, I'm so thankful for the brother that I have. Like, I have a good group of guy friends, but my brother in general, like, when he saw the needs of my son, like, and that his dad was not in his life, he was like, okay, I got to step up and do what I need to do for my nephew. So this is the game plan. This is what we're going to do to make sure we get him through, because we don't want to see him fall through the cracks of trying to figure out who he is and or lack of not knowing who he is, like, go down the wrong path. Because, and it's funny because I can tell him something and he can tell him the same exact thing. And I said that.
No, it's the energy. It's
the
presence. It's all of that.
Okay, so
I'll be able to tie in what Shani said with what y'all said in my identity, because first and foremost, I'll put my perspective in a certain situation with my nephew. And it goes with what Shannon said. There's a thing that happens, I don't know if it's puberty, junior high, something, where the young man shifts and starts trying to figure out life and start identifying it, and it just no longer registers to somebody who can't identify. I cannot show my daughter through the process of having a menstrual cycle because I never experienced it. Never will I experience it. So it's something about having somebody who has and went through it. So when Jeremiah comes here and he's like, all right, he instantly comes, start taking out the trash. She's just like, I said, it's not the fact that I say anything different, and I tell my sister, I'm like, look, I'm reassuring what you're already saying. Yeah. He's just hearing it from you. And sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes if it's the other pastor, you're in one congregation, as long as they get the message, that's what's most important. Right. But he identifies because sometimes you can look at this in life, you inspired to something that somebody has. He looks at his uncle and he swear to God, I'm rich for some reason. He swear to God, he like, yeah. I would honestly say I will not take no credit. It's just a blessing to God. I just say it's a favor of God with how my life just flows. But anywho, when he does it, I've always been there. Anything he's ever wanted, I said, look, I understand you got a bad deal, but you still got me. So there's not no option. Don't ever look at it like there's no option. But when it came to the point and I started seeing this with Shining, it's almost like he's starting to look at Shining more like if it's a girlfriend or somebody nagging him as opposed to this is still your mama who had to fight and endure all the bad situations for somebody else who's not picking up the slack. You know what I'm saying? I got you. So I was like, okay, I ain't moving to Sierra Vista, but if you want to come down here, we'll mix Moningo, we'll make it all work. Because we got 4 years and we need to make sure that this young man gets a good start. Because at the end of the day, when I'm dead and gone, I want my fingerprint and our fingerprint of the next generation to make sure that we carry on a good lineage from our children and the legacy that's in the league that's going to be left that we're on here. Even with the bad parental issues, we've already overcame that. Not graduating from high school or college, we've overcame those situations. Bad, whatever your bad deal is, we're still continuing to work on that, but we want to make sure that they're able to take off and get a leap start off our shoulders. Just like the ones who paid the dues for my grandmother, my grandfather, and you know. So strictly, that's one thing I say. Once again, it's all about that identity. And at least Jeremiah knows there's a bloodline, that this is a bloodline of mine. Exactly. I may not be my father, but we got the same blood in us, which comes to his 90, which is my mom. So he still gets to identify to something, but he gets to see how I move. And he see I don't stay still too long. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, okay. Like Uncle will step up, and not only, and that's the one thing that I think about times with like coach and mentorship. So within that, there's something about me when I can clean the kitchen, but then I go back behind the kids and there's food on the crumbs and all that, and I'm like, okay, y'all not getting it. So evidently, I need to be a little more patient, and we're gonna walk through this. Let me see what is it that you do so I can correct it. So that way, because it's not the fact that you're doing something wrong. You just want to be good and better at what you do. Take more pride in it because this is your house too. And that's the thing about that pride, that respect of where you come from and the lineage, because I really hold near and dear to what my grandmother and my grandfather did, you know what I'm saying, going through segregation and things of that nature, and my grandmother, that we have the right to try to continue to push the bar forward. So you're not going to get there by half doing anything. So let me show you how to do it. And that's why I think oftentimes in this life that we live, we get so busy that people forget to slow down, take the time because they're not there yet, and be patient with them and walk them through. Like sit there and be like, okay, this is how you wash the dish. Oh, you see this food on the side? Oh, we're going to wipe that too in the bottom of it. Because evidently we're not wiping the bottom of the dishes, you know? So it's like literally those things of having that from a male's perspective definitely resonates different than what it is about a woman. Because Marcus pointed that, and then that'll be my last point, is that when the fathers were removed as elephants out of the tribe, the kids went wild. It's just something that I'll be the bad guy. The men can be the bad guy, you be the disciplinary, but I also show you love so you have a balance. But if I'm not in the household where you don't have that, you have that nurturing spirit, which is very much needed too. And that's why, don't know which one of y'all said it, but you made a good fact that it's important to have both parents in the circle. Yeah. It's important. It's something about me, though I'm divorced and not with their mom, it's something about having both of us at their birthday that it was like a shit. And it took me getting out of my pride, and I'll be totally honest, I took it out of my pride. So I was like, nah, I feel this certain way, nah, I ain't doing that. But I was like, when people start looking at me like, what's best for them? You get outside and I prayed, and that's when God was like, you're going to have to merge. You're going to have to be the person to do it. And that's where it comes to the forgiveness and growing inside of yourself, where you can truly start making an impact on your child and your children's life. Because you need to be present in order to make sure that everything still flows.
one of the hardest things for me over these last couple of years has been realizing that lack of male leadership and guidance, because my pops was around my first 10 to 12 years of my life, but I didn't learn anything directly from that. He didn't teach me. Except for how to tie a tie. Yeah, he taught me how to tie a tie when I was like, and outside of that, I remember one day he was like, get the lawnmower. I was like, all right, bet. He's like, cut the grass. You teach me how? Like, but after a while, like, I was out there long enough, I figured it out. And that's how my life has been, because I look at my grandfather, even though he and my grandmother have been married for 71 years, 97 years old, he's never taught me anything. And he's phenomenally great with money. And I had to find this out from my mom and my grandma. They're like, nah, your grandpa got money, like stacked up. He's been saving for years. He still drives the same 94 Acura, and it looks like showroom condition, but he's never showed me how to wash a car. Never showed me money management. Like, these were things that you had instilled in you. Like, you been doing my mom's taxes most of her life. And then when she learned how to do taxes, she worked for American Express. She learned how to manage credit. I had a 720 credit score coming out of college, but nobody showed me what credit was. So all I could do was mess it up when I found it. When I found it on my own. Right. I didn't have the knowledge of do some research, learn about this before you utilize it. And so now I'm sitting back and I'm like, damn, they were there, but no one took the time to teach. I had to teach myself a shit and I messed it up. Right. And so over this time, I've always felt like I was behind because I'm learning things now that I had to research on my own. Yeah. But I'm like, there were men around. Like, my grandmother had 6 brothers, all those uncles, and it was cool. It was cool as hell, but never sat me down and had like a real conversation about it. I tried to put my dad's youngest brother, because he has 5 brothers, his youngest brother in Atlanta, who I would go visit. I tried to put him on a pedestal, and I realized, like, I promise you never taught me that. Like, y'all weren't at my games. You didn't talk to me about sports. You didn't talk to me about school. You didn't talk to me about manhood. You didn't talk to me about marriage. You didn't talk to me about relationship and dating and women. Like, they like literally taught me nothing. And I was like, damn, it's crazy, because in high school, 2 of my closest friends, Clint and Matt, like, we all found each other our freshman year of high school. And when we looked at their father dynamics, because their dads were in the house, they weren't being taught anything either. And we were like, yo, and I remember sitting down our sophomore year and we were like, yo, we're gonna have to father each other. And that was probably one of the hardest conversations we had, because Matt started bawling. And he was like, my dad's running. He was so toxic. He was like, I was like, well, what did he teach you? How to be in shit? And I was like, And so this journey has been really tough, and I'm grateful, because when I met King, like, he already had kids. And I was like, you are the closest representation of seeing a father in action. Because my oldest brother has, I think he just had his 6th child with his 4th baby mama. And, you know, my first nephew, my mom would basically take my nephew in because my brother wasn't present, because my pops wasn't present. And so I've been watching this lineage of men not be present. Like, I had to teach myself that I don't want my mom taking out the garbage. Yeah. Like, I had to just be like, one day, like, why you always taking out the garbage? She's like, who else gonna do it? I got it. Yeah. So now I actually get annoyed when I see women take out the garbage, and I'm like, yo, we can't sit here and watch her take the garbage out. Like, that's not her job. And so it's just been really frustrating. And then once I got at ease with it, because then I started to realize that there are examples, but they're all in my age group. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that was hard for me to swallow, because now it took a lot of prayer to let go of the resentment that I now had, or that I developed, for those men to be like, yo, y'all niggas was just here. Like, you was just here, and you might have been going to work every day, paying the bills, but if you don't teach me the value of why you go to work every day, you never showed me how to pay a bill.
Subscribe so you don't miss next week's video.
Well, I will say, though, the lack of presence caused me, and we talked about this on another call, caused me to have a resentment towards male leadership. And so I kept my distance from deep relationship with men, because I was like, you're just